Welcome students. Today we will discuss about genetic programming. What is genetic programming? You can represent genetic programming in short form as GP. GP is an evolutionary computation technique. It is also belonging to evolutionary computation technique, which is used to solve problems without requiring the user to know or specify the form or structure of the solution in advance. That means here in genetic programming you need not know the structure of the problem. There is no need to find the structure of the problem. There is no need to know the structure of the problem, which is to be solved. That is the main specialty. In fact, I can tell structure means modeling. What type of modeling? Equation you should know in advance. There is no need for the user to find the modeling equation for the problem. Our genetic programming with different operations, it will try to find its own mathematical model or structure for the problem. Okay. So, in fact, GP is a systematic. It is a systematic domain independent method. It is a domain independent method. So it is not dependent on any particular domain. Okay. It is domain independent for getting computers to solve problems automatically. So you need not understand the problems. Your genetic programming, when it is given some primitives, automatically with the help of primitives, it will frame its optimum programs or optimum modeling equations for the given program. Okay. So why we need to go for genetic programming? You need to understand this. Genetic programming is different from genetic algorithms. Why? What is the reason we have to use? What is the reason? The main reason is it will save times. So when you are having complex programs, when you are having complex problems, so you need to design a complex algorithms or complex mathematical equations. In such a case, it saves time by freeing the human from designing complex algorithms. So you did not design the modeling programs in advance. So automatically it will frame its own modeling equation to solve a particular problem. Okay. By doing so, it will give you optimum solutions. It will give us optimal solutions. That is a specialty. You will see when we are discussing some examples. So let us see how the genetic algorithm works. How GP algorithm works. It's very simple. So it is just like a genetic algorithm. Here also you will start with some generate a population of random programs after generating the random programs, you will run the programs and check their quality with the help of some parameters, performance parameters. Run the programs and evaluate their quality. It depending upon the application, we will have different quality parameters. Say for example, if it is a classification task, means you can use accuracy as one of the parameter. So after running the programs and evaluating their quality, if the quality is not satisfied, or if we are having less than maximum number of iterations, you can apply if the quality is no means you can apply some genetic operators to generate new population of random programs. So here also we are going to discuss the genetic operators like crossover and mutation. But here the difference is we will apply to generate programs. In genetic algorithms, we will apply mutation crossover for generating solutions. Here we will apply for generating programs. So again, you will run the program and check their quality with the performance parameters. Once the termination criteria is reached, in this case, if the quality is yes, then you will found a optimum solution. Say for example, if it is some mathematical equation, it may be something like this: y is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus c. So this is some sample modeling program. Okay. So this is how the genetic programming will work by generating a set of populations and evaluating their quality, which is leading to optimal solution. Okay, this is how the genetic programming it will work. So now our next task is, let us write a algorithm. What are the basic steps? Let us elaborately write. We have seen the architecture block diagram of how the information is flowed. Let us write basic steps in GP, genetic programming system algorithm. The first step, by this time you could have understood, you need to generate randomly create an initial population of programs from the available primitives. So you need to define the primitives first for your application problem, and then with the help of primitive set we have to generate a population of programs. So we will take one example. After that you will understand more clearly. So let me write all the steps. So let us write the third step. Execute each program and evaluate its fitness or quality. Okay, and then so since we randomly generate a set of programs in the initial population, your next step is to take each program in the population and then evaluate its fitness. Okay, so after that, so since it is evolutionary algorithm, you need to perform or apply genetic operators like crossover and mutation. So for that, your next step is you need to select one or two programs based on from the current population, or shall I write current population? I'll write current population from the current population with selection probability. This selection probability is calculated with the help of fitness values. We have already seen genetic algorithm. Here also the same thing with selection probability to participate in genetic operations. We will see how genetic operations are applied. So after selecting two programs, you need to apply genetic operations to get new set of individual programs. So next step is, fifth step is, you need to create new population, new individual programs by applying genetic operations with specified probabilities. And the next step is you need to repeat the steps, step 3, step 4, step 5 until termination criteria is reached. Until we reach termination criteria, until termination criteria is reached. Okay, so here the termination criteria means when we got acceptable solution, okay, which is found out with the help of fitness values. Once you got, that means acceptable solution, okay, that is the meaning here. So when the termination criteria is reached, you can come out of the loop. So your process is simple. So generate an initial set of programs with the help of available primitives, and then evaluate its fitness, and then select two programs based on the selection probabilities, and then generate new programs with the help of genetic operations. Here genetic operations means crossover and mutation. Okay, we will see how crossover and mutation is performed in GP. Okay, genetic programming. So after that, once you reach the termination criteria, you can stop the process. So therefore you will get the output as the best solution, best optimum program, or you can say as a best optimum program. Okay. So since we discussed all these things, these are the basic steps. Our next question is obviously how the program will look like, how the program or mathematical modeling program will look like, and how they are represented, and how mutation and crossover is performed. That is the next step we are interested in. Okay, so let us see the next step. The representation of programs. How the programs are represented in GP, in genetic programming, how programs are represented. You need to understand that here we are going to use trees, which we call as a syntax trees. For representing programs in genetic programming, we will use tree data structure. Okay. So trees means obviously you know you will have nodes and edges. Okay, nodes and edges. So you can see you can have different types of nodes. You can have different types of nodes. You can have root node, you can have terminal nodes, or first I will write internal nodes, and finally terminal nodes. Okay, terminal nodes. Once you understood this, here terminal nodes we can call it as a trees also. Your root node or internal node, it may be some functions, it may be some mathematical functions. So let us see one simple example of how a mathematical model or program is represented in tree representation. So let us write one program, mathematical program, one simple sample program, examples, mathematical program. x1, here x1, x2, let us suppose they are variables, x1 into x2 minus x1 just I am randomly taking, divided by x1 plus x2 into root of x2. So let us suppose this is a mathematical program. Let us see how we can represent in tree representation. You need to understand the primitives are, these are the set of primitives. What are the primitives? So first, mathematical operators or functions are there. Star is there, minus is there, division is there, plus is there, and a root operator. And finally, the internal terminal nodes are x1, x1, x2, only two variables. So these are the primitives. With these primitives only, so program is constructed. Let us see. So let us construct. So for this program, we will take the division as root node. This you can take as a root node, and then you can assume as a left subtree and right subtree. So again, you can, in the left subtree, again you can take this as a internal node minus symbol, and then you can have one terminal. Here terminals are constants or variables, x1, and then here again for this operator you are having again left subtree and right subtree. For left subtree, again you are having multiplication operator, and then x1 and x2. Similarly, for right subtree, you can easily find the multiplication operator as a internal node, internal root node, and again for this multiplication you are having left subtree and right subtree. For right subtree, again you are having a function, so root function. This is also a internal root node. Plus symbol you can see, and then x2. So this is how a tree data structure is used for mathematical program representation. Okay, are you understanding? So for your understanding, I will take another program and how it is represented. How it is represented in tree format. So let us take another example. (2.2) minus x by 11 plus let us see how. You can see this is the root node. This is a tree representation. For this root node, this is left subtree. For this left subtree, you are having another operator minus. And you can see again, all these are self-explanatory. So x, and this is 11. So for plus operator, this is the right subtree. Again you are having another subtree here. You can put multiplication, and then 7, This is a cost function, and you can apply y. So if you observe this, all the leaf nodes are all variables are constant. These are all, this is constant, some constant value. This is your variable. So you need to understand that all internal nodes are all mathematical operators like plus, multiplication, minus, division, you can see, and some trigonometry functions, that means mathematical functions only. All internal nodes are something like mathematical functions, and leaf nodes, you can see these are all leaf nodes. Leaf nodes, it may be something like all are leaf nodes actually. Leaf node consists of either constants or variables, okay, variables or constants. So with this, this is how we will represent a mathematical program using tree representation, okay. So we successfully represented a mathematical program using tree representation. So this is an important part. Once we successfully learned how we represent a program in tree representation, next we will study about genetic operators in GP, genetic programming. Genetic operators in GP. So I already told you we are having two operators. One is a crossover and mutation. Two operators are there, crossover and mutation. So in this slide, first we will learn how crossover operation is performed for two programs. So that means a program will be represented in tree format, okay. So this is the important, okay. Let us see. So for crossover operation to be performed, you need to have two programs, that means two tree representations. Let us see how we can do it. Let us take, you need two programs in tree representation. So first one is, so let us take a parent, first parent, division, this is multiplication, this is plus symbol, x1, root operator, x1, root operator, and x2. I am taking some random programs like this, plus symbol, and then x1, x2. So similarly take second parent, something like this, x1, x2, this is into, and x1, and x2. Now let us perform the crossover operation. For performing crossover, for understanding purpose, I am changing the color. Let us randomly select one node, okay, as a crossover node, okay. So let us say, for example, I want to cut at this position. Similarly, you randomly select one node as a crossover node. You need to select one node as a crossover node. Okay, crossover node. You need to randomly select. Let us say I will select this point as a random node. Similarly, for second parent, I will select this as a random node. So this as a crossover node. So I will break this second parent at this location. Okay. So that means you need to remove this part, and similarly you need to remove this part. So what I will do means, for crossover to be performed for these two parents, you need to remove this part, this subtree, and merge with the first parent. And similarly, you need to remove the left subtree of the first parent and merge with the second parent. So let us see the first operation. So first what I will do is, I will take this right subtree of the second parent, I will merge here. Okay, let us see. That means you will get the first child. So when you are performing crossover, you will get two childs. That means two child programs. So now what I will get means, so please first write as it is the first parent except the left subtree. So that means this position. First I will write this one. First I will write the right subtree x1 root x1. So now what you have to do means, you have to take this part and you have to merge with the first parent. So I hope it is very clear. Just you have to merge it. x1 x2. So this is how first child is constructed. So you can see how the first parent is changed. So you can see the change, how first child is produced. Similarly, for second child, so you first draw the second parent as it is except the right subtree. So that means x1, this is x1 and this is x2. Now here what you have to do means, you take the left subtree of the first parent and then merge with the second parent. So now you will get something like this. That's it. So we successfully, you can see the difference, how two childs are produced from two parents in genetic programming. So it's very simple. So now let us see how mutation is performed. I will go to next slide. How mutation is performed. How mutation is performed. Let us take, for mutation you need one parent. So what you will do means, in mutation also you will take randomly select one node, and you need to add some randomly generated subtree to that node. So let us take one example. It operates on a single parent. Let us take one single parent, something like this. It operates on a single parent. X2 X2 and then you can take, let us say for example, this is the parent I am having, X1, and then so this is the parent I am having. Say for example, I am randomly selecting this node as a mutation node. So what I will do means, I will cut this subtree. So what I will do means, I will add a randomly generated subtree. Let us suppose subtree with the help of some primitives. Let us assume I got like this. I got a subtree like this, star x1 x2. So what I will do means, the generated subtree of length level 1 of, or you can say of depth 1, you can substitute here. So that means everything you can remove this point, and what you will do means, you substitute here. So the resultant will be, the child will be something like this, or you can say offspring, whatever it is. Square root, and then x2, x1, x2, and again a minus symbol. Now this part you will get this right subtree. You can see this. Now you can see this subtree you will add at this position. Add at this position. You can see this, the difference here. X1, and here you are adding this subtree. See how we added at this randomly selected node with the help of randomly generated subtree. This is how mutation is carried out. Okay, this is how mutation is carried out. Okay, so we have learnt how genetic programming will work, and how programs are represented using tree data structure, and how mutation operators and crossover operators are performed. We have learned successfully. Okay, so see, I think it is easy to understand. Once it is easy to understand, you can follow all these steps to produce a optimal program. So we learned how to evaluate each program, and operator genetic operations, and individual programs, all these things. Okay, and for this program, we can also learn how to generate initial population. Okay, so I will tell you one simple technique how to generate initial population. How to generate. I will tell one simple technique how to generate initial population of programs. So it's very simple. So for generating initial population of programs, first of all, what you have to do is you have to define the primitive set. So fix the primitives for your primitives. Let us suppose the primitives are plus, minus. Primitives means what are the mathematical functions and terminals are used. 3, what you say, some x1, x2, something like this. So what I will do is, you can generate systematically. Let us say there is, in literature we are in some methods, grow method. So you need to specify what should be the size or depth of the program, or depth of the tree. That also you can define. Say for example, I want, let us assume the depth is 2. So what I will do is, I will select randomly from these primitives. So at first iteration, at t is equal to 1, at first iteration, let us suppose, so I have selected this one with random probability and a symbol. So root node is selected. At second iteration, let us suppose, for when you are selecting a root node, obviously you have to select the what you say, left subtree and right subtree. Again you randomly sample. Let us suppose this time you sample 3 for left subtree, for minus operator. So you put here. So again, since if you see this, we are going. So if you see this, in the next iteration, for 3 node, you cannot again go for another left subtree or right subtree, because when randomly you are selecting a constant means, it means that it is a leaf node. Okay, leaf node. That means there are no left subtree and right subtree. So you need to sample for right subtree of minus operator. So again you go the primitives. Let us suppose you sample this time x1 and x1 is also a leaf node. Let us suppose I will select a plus symbol instead of x1, so that you will get a depth. This is for your illustration only. And once we have selected a root node, internal root node plus operator, again you have to select for leaf node. So randomly select one terminal. It can be constant or it can be some variables. Let us suppose x1 is sampled. So you can put, say, x1. This is at 4th iteration. At 5th iteration, if you sample, let us suppose you got x2. So you put here. So at t is equal to 5, you will get a complete program with a depth 2. So here we have already specified that depth of the tree is 2 and the branch for each node is 2. Branch is also specified as 2. So as a result, we will get this program randomly. This is a randomly generated program. For the population. Similarly, if the population size is 6, means you have to do this 6 times. Then only you will get 6 programs. This is one subtree. So the corresponding program is 3 minus x1 plus x2. So this is one program for this right subtree. In this way, you will construct a random population of programs. After random population of programs, that is the first step. And what you will do means you will execute each program and evaluate its fitness. That is the second step. And then you take randomly 2 programs based on the selection probability, and then apply the genetic operations to give our next population, okay, new generation. So these 3 steps are repeated until your termination criteria is reached. So once termination criteria is reached, it is believed that you will get optimum program. Okay, optimum program. The main advantage in genetic programming is you need not know the modeling of the mathematical modeling of the program. That is a specialty. So only thing is you need to define the primitives. What are the primitives that are allowed for the application program? Once it is allowed, the rest will be taken care by the genetic programming. So in short, I will draw a rough diagram so that you will understand in a more simple way. So it's very simple. So you can have some diagram like this. GP, let us assume this is a genetic programming, and for this you need to supply the terminal set. That means a set of terminal symbols, and then you need to specify the functional set. What are the mathematical functions that is required for your application program, and what is a fitness measure? What is the quality measure you are going to use for evaluation, and then parameters. So you need to supply the parameters. You need to input the termination criteria. What is the termination criteria? Once you specify all these things, your genetic programming, it will generate a new, novel, optimized computer program. So this is how a GP system works. Okay. Thank you, students.